I'm not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 65, a restoration part 2 that is on page 30 while doing a bit standing yoga, and if you participate in the standing yoga, that is at your own risk. So we were just talking about two great disasters. The first one was the plague coming to London in 1665, killing thousands of people, especially in the poor areas, and about the Great Fire of London in 1666. Many churches burned down, for example, the St. Paul's Cathedral, and it was rebuilt by under the leadership of the famous architects Sir Christopher Wren. So we now have a building in London. We now have the House of Parliament, the Westminster Bridge, and St. Paul's Cathedral. London was rebuilt with a new St. Paul's, which was designed by the famous architect Sir Christopher Wren. Samuel Pepys wrote about these events in a diary, which was later published and is still read today. So Samuel Pepys wrote a diary about these days of a rebuilding of London after the Great Fire of London in 1666. The St. Paul's Cathedral was rebuilt under the leadership of the architect Sir Christopher Wren, and Samuel wrote a diary about that, which is still read today. It's Samuel Pepys. We know some books. We know The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, around 1400, about a group of pilgrims travelling to Canterbury and talking stories on the way, printed by William Caxton, the first person to print with a printing press. We know of The Bruce by John Bookmoor, about the Battle of Bannockburn in 1344. The Scottish army led by Robert the Bruce defeated the English army. We know of the book Henry V, and a quote out of that book is Once More Upon the Beach. We know about the book or the play Romeo and Juliet, and one quote is A Rose Upon Another Name, and we know about the play or something As You Like It, and the quote is All Words a Stage, and we know about Sonnet 18, Shall I Compare It to a Summer's Day, and the quote is The Darling Buds of May, and we know of one more. I don't know what one more, but we know also of other books by William Shakespeare or plays, and these are Macbeth, Hamlet. Hamlet out of Hamlet is to be or not to be. So we know of Hamlet, Macbeth to be Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, and The Midsummer Night's Dream. So these are the books we know, but we also know of the King James Bible, or here named the King James Bible, or the Authorized Version. I had the idea that that is what is written on the layer or on the first page. So it is the King James Bible that is named, but if you open it, that there's written Authorized Version, or the other thing was King James Version. So maybe it's something about it. I'm going to call it King James Bible. And we know of a revisited Book of Prayers, which Charles II tried to impose on the Presbyterian Church of England. We know of a Book of Common Prayers, and it was by Henry VII, I think, which he introduced during his time. And I think that these are the books we know of. Book of Common Prayers was written to be used in the Church of England. That was Edward VI. So Edward VI ruled from age 9 to 15, and he was a strongly Protestant from the ages 9 until 15, and during his reign was Book of Common Prayers written. Okay, and then we know of another book, I'm still calling it, I can't get it pronounced, maybe that's the name, it's the reason, Domesday Book, that was by William the Conqueror. And he sent people out to look what villages and towns were there, and who had what sheep, and so who had what animals, and whom what land owned. It is the Domesday Book. I think these are the books we know out of his Life in UK Test Handbook. So let's start a bit with the standing, where we're having the legs standing a bit more shorter to wide apart. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And we're breathing out and breathing back, and we're doing the crab in the morning. We're breathing in and coming up. And we're breathing out and we're going down. And again in. And back. closing the feet and the hand. Breathe in. And out and we're leaning back, we're reading the wind. And again, in into the middle. And again, out and we're leaning back. Again, in. And out. And now we have long talked about books, because we had just learned about another book, a diary is written after the Great Fire of London 66, 1 year after the plague in 1665, where, for example, is written about how St. Paul's Cathedral was architectured again by Sir Christopher Wren and London rebuilt. We don't know if it is in the book, but it was together, I guess it is in the book. And that we now continue with our next accessory beat of the warrior. These toes are pointing in resurrection on way into bed. We are breathing in the arms up. And we're breathing out and we're shifting in front and we're bending the front leg. Now we're breathing in and out and we're bending over. And we're looking up. Breathing again in and out back into the warrior. We're breathing in and out and we're going with one hand back to the leg and we're looking up to the other hand. We're breathing in and straighten a little the front leg and out and we're sinking again down. We're breathing in and out back into the warrior. We're breathing in and out we are exiting the warrior. Not to the other side. One leg with the toes to that direction, the other toes into that direction. And we're breathing in, lifting the arms up. And out we are bending the front leg. We're breathing in. And out we're leaning over in front and we're looking upwards. And breathe again in. Out into the warrior. Breathe in. Out, back of hand, take hold onto the leg and look up. Breathe in and straighten the front leg. And out and sink again down. Again in. Out into the warrior. We're breathing in. And out and we are leaving warrior position. The Habeas Corpus Act became law in 1679. This was a very important piece of legislation which remains relevant today. So, let's learn it one by one, because I'm pretty sure that is complicated. So the name is Habeas Corpus Act. It became law in 1679, so there is a law written. It was written in 1679. So in the year 1679, people have sat down and written that law, and its title is Habeas Corpus Act. Now first, before we know what is in this law written, this was a very important piece of legislation which remains relevant today. Legislation, let's just continue with saying that legislation means law. It's something similar. So it's a very important law which is still relevant today. That means it's still today important. So in 1679, some people have sat down, maybe it was just one person, but let's say some people have sat down and written a law, a sentence, and that sentence says something. And that sentence was not only important then, but still today, 350 years later, that law is important. Habeas corpus is Latin. So habeas corpus, and because it's Latin, it is told to us, it will be told what these words are meaning. Not really, we are getting a translation. But what I want to say is we are getting not told what the other words all mean. And many of them are based on Latin. Now we are told what they are or what they mean. So habeas corpus is Latin. And it means you must present the person in court. I hope we will get more explanation to it. You must present the person in court. present or present. You must present the person in court. Which can mean 100 different things. The act guaranteed that no one could be held prisoner unlawfully. Every prisoner has a right to a court hearing. Now I understand it, but just because I understand it, not because it is explained. It means that every prisoner has a right to a court hearing. And that means that the person has to be present in court. Does it mean that every person has to appear in front of a court? Or does it mean every prisoner has a right to a court hearing? Because just from the words, it could mean everything. It could also mean a lawyer has to present the other person. So they don't have to be able to speak for themselves. They can just be brought in there. And a lawyer is talking. That would mean you must present the person in court. That could be directed to a lawyer. You must bring the other person with you. You must pretend that the person exists, is alive or something like that. But now the other sentences are telling us a bit more. No one could be held prisoner unlawfully. That means if people are kept prisoner, are arrested, that has to be lawful. There has to be a law, so the law has to be fully agreed to. So there has to be a law saying that it is allowed to keep the person as a prisoner. And every person has a right to a court hearing. And we will do it in the next part completely another time. That is way too complicated. And we will just look at that little thing here that was said, that very important thing, that freedom from unfair discrimination and a right to a fair trial. So the UK offers to its citizens and residents, and permanent residents, so its citizens and residents, permanent residents, a right to a fair trial, and yes, that's it, a right to a fair trial, and also the rule of law that we have here. A right to a fair trial. We will now do the standing yoga, and then we will see if I say another thing to it, but we will continue mostly in the next part. So let's do the standing cat and cow. We are going down. We're having an inch space between our toes. We're leaning onto our knees. We're breathing in and out. We're making the bow with the head, with the back. And we're breathing in into the middle and out. We're making the cow. We're making the bend the other way around with the back. And breathe in into the middle and out. And make a hill with the back. And again, in into the middle, and out and make the leg of the back. That's the cow. And again, in into the middle, and now the cat. And again, in, and out for last time into the cow. And breathe in into the middle, and out we're coming up with the front back and making at the top of the backward shoulder shoulder. Let's do the last exercise. The toes are pointing to the outside. We're having an overlap space between our heels. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And we're breathing out and we're sinking down into the garden pose. We're placing the elbows against the inside of our knees. And we're breathing in and we're straightening up the back. And we're breathing out and the back comes up. We are breathing in. And out, again down. We're breathing in, straightening up the back. And we're breathing out and the back comes again up. And we're breathing in, coming the last time to the garden pose. And now let's just breathe in. We're breathing in. And now out. And we're coming slowly up, one straight line. And now let's do the last exercise. We're having our feet standing together. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And we're breathing out, we're doing the down diving dolphin. We're breathing in, coming up into monkey half lift. And we're breathing out, we're down again, down. Again, in into monkey half lift, so halfway up with a straight back. And out, again, down. We're breathing in and doing the up diving swan. And we're breathing out and we're done with standing yoga. Only have 30 seconds left. The habeas corpus act became law in 1677. This was a very important piece of legislation which remains relevant today. Habeas corpus is Latin for "you must present the person in court." The Act guaranteed that no one could be held prisoner unlawfully. Every prisoner has a right to a court hearing. We will go through that another time in the next part. So thank you very much, and until next time.